I'm sharing my screen.
I don't see nothing. I see nothing.
For me the same.
But there is to restart. Nothing?
Now I see.
Now I see, yeah.
You see it?
Yeah, I see,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. So it's about ComLog. The component is called Squirrel. So we meet this name. Just to start, so Squirrel is a Java component. It's inside Chameleon, like RTSM. And to understand how it works, I put for me the skills that are necessary to well understand the ComLog is to know quite well the RTSM API model, especially the event, not the service, but all the events that are published by the RTSM. And we also use SQL for the database. So, like I said, Squirrel is a Chameleon plugin like RTSM. It's a component like RTSM that we develop in the team since the beginning, in the same time. So we quite know well the code of this component. It's not the case for the other plugin, but for RTSM and Squirrel, it's our component. Toward what is a Chameleon plugin? It's a component that respects Chameleon plugin. So normally you can it's independent of the other component, and it can be unplugged, but as in theory. This is a general slide for the architecture. So there is many information in it. In the left part, you can see the producer of the ComLog. So the main producer is RTSM, which provides telephony event. This telephony event goes through the Chameleon event buds and are listened by the Squirrel. In the second time, we add a new producer that is the ICS, in order to provide what we call UCL. UCL is the other name of a communication log, and it means Unified ComLog. That the aim is to provide a unified API, either for call from ICS and also either for the call managed by the ACS. So in the second time, we add this ACS to UCL, which is a small component in the ACS, and which push in RMI mode the events concerning the call managed by the conference call managed by ICS. So that is for the producers, and on the right you have the consumers of the event. We have in Chameleon one internal consumer, which is the Panda, and which is interested by the missed call counter. The Panda generates itself the event summary event. So he is listening for the missed call counter. And, and on the top, you can find all the different clients which are using the ComLog API, either in service or in event. This is not an exhaustive list, and I don't know if it's really up to date, but it gives a general idea of which are the clients of the ComLog. 8082 is still a client for the SOAP part and XML zip notifier. I know that ICS is listening for both XML event and JSON event. So yes, this is the general view of the component. You can find different information about document, different documents which exist, the TLDs, troubleshooting, and the UCL document. Also the artifacts that are used. Okay, so if I don't know if you have a question about the general architecture of this component. I think it's quite clear.
Could I ask one question?
Yes, of course.
Am I right to understand that Squirrel it's log plugin for safe logs about events, or no? Is it a plugin for saving logs? No, yes.
Sorry, I don't.
For saving Squirrel, it's a special plugin for saving log message or what? Generally.
I don't catch saving log.
Yes, safe.
Yes,
logs.
Yes, it's safe. It has its own DB database,
Mm-hmm.
and it collects, it forges and saves the log in this database, and provide an API for the different client to either to send event in real time when the records are created, either to allow application to get the ComLog through GET request.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, understand. Thank you a lot.
So two main works, either to produce as call are started and ended in it produce event, and also it safe the the record in the database. Just this slide to localize Squirrel, which is sending event through the event bus. EVS is the event bus of the main event bus of the Chameleon. I don't know if you have ever heard of this event bus. This morning, Dominique talked about this event bus. So it's the same event bus of Chameleon, which is carrying, exchanging events through the main component of the Chameleon. So here, the event goes through the event bus to what we call the XML notifier, which is a wrapper which wraps the internal message, internal event to publish this event in XML way. This is the same thing for JSON. So as I said, ACS you can view that ACS is also looking for XML notifier, but also for JSON notifier. This, as I can know, these events are going in transparent through ACS to the different clients. This is for the event part. For the service, we have two kinds of service. The SOAP web service, that was the legacy SOAP in the Chameleon, which was used by the oldest terminal, oldest client, like for example the 8082. This is always used, still used by this set. And so this service invoke, for example, the get call log, which is the main get or delete action on the Squirrel. Sorry, same thing in REST. I don't know exactly the exhaustive list of clients which use the REST service. I suggest to have a look on the Chameleon REST documentation related to the ComLog. Wait a minute. So I don't know this, if you know this documentation. It's a REST API that is provided in several versions, private or public version. So ComLog here is here. In the first part, we can find on the resource summary the different operations that are possible on the ComLog. So get is the main action that is done on the ComLog generally. Delete is also used by client to clean the record of course, if one client deletes the record, it's done on the server side, so all the clients will have their ComLog deleted. So some clients delete all the record, or they can delete it ID by ID. Yes, there is another method that can be used on the records. It is used when a client wants to acknowledge, for example, a missed call. That is an incoming call that has not been answered, and the client wants to make it disappear from the missed call list. So the mean is to acknowledge the record, like a mail. This is the event part. This is, sorry, the service part. On the event part, you can find 5 different type of notification. On record created is the main event, which is sent each time a new entry is created. Record modify can be used when there is a modification on the record itself. Generally is when the record is acknowledged. It also can be used when during a conversation when a record has been initially sent, and after we need to refresh this record because for example in conference, when the first participant leaves the conference, the record is sent a first time, and at the end, or when another participant leaves, we refresh the record with a new end date. So this can be used in this case. Hack or unhack are the events which are used when the event hack or unhack edge. And deleted is when one or several records are removed. Okay, so I come back on the slide. This is a view to present internal architecture of the Squirrel component. So I've put two main parts, and which are what I call the main engine, which builds the record. The records are built listening to RTSM event and also listening to ACS notification. Then when the call is ended, the record is pushed in the database, stored in the database, and in the same time an event is produced for the consumer. This event can be a record created or removed or modified, or also miscalled if the call has been missed. So two main parts. One part which builds the record and which initializes the record when the communication starts, close the record when the communication ends, then the record is pushed in database. And here we have small parts which represent the service, which receives the service request and answer to the service request. This slide represents the record exactly structure. This slide is come from the unified ComLog API view, so it is not exactly the internal object, but it's quite the same. So there is one main part which represents the record itself, which first attribute is the ID. The ID is given by the database. When the record is inserted in database, this record ID is given to the record. Communication ref is a call ref, which is given by the telephony. Boolean attributes when to say if the record is acknowledged or not. This Boolean archived is not used, so I won't say more on that because it's not used. It has been put in the past, but okay. The list of participants, begin and that. The list of media. Here, the ComLog can have several media, like audio coming from ICS, but also the media coming from ACS, which could be video or IM sharing. Attachment is also used when the record comes from ACS, and in attachment we will find the reference to the EM thread. Okay, and finally extensions are used. I only know one case. It's for manager assistant case, or we find special tags in this extension. What is a participant? A participant is defined by an identity. An identity contains some information about the party, the name, phone number, etc., email. We find a role. A role is the participant a caller, or is the participant a called in the call? As the participant answered the call, was the participant anonymous, and initial called is a party information, which represents the user that has been initially called in the communication. We will detail that after. I'll give example. Finally, another important attribute is the reason, which is given by telephony, and which represents generally why the call has been closed. For example, if the call has been transferred or redirected, or if it was a conference. attach a media type, so it can be audio, video, IM. Attachment, I already spoke about IM reference that are used, that are given by ICS, but we also can use it when the call has been deflected to voicemail, and we can find here the voicemail, the voice message address. Okay. Is it clear for you? Do you have any question on the?
Yes, clear.
Okay.
Okay.
So as I said, this is the UCL API view, but in the internal view is very close from this view, and we will find, for example, for the com history record, we will find a class that is called com history record and participant. Yes. So I will speak about the main class in the core, in the engine part. So this one, sorry, this one. There are two, I would say two main class in the generate part, which is the call record core. This class is listening to the telephony event, so call created, call modified, call removed, and build the record. So they are created on call created event and close generally on call removed. But they can be closed also when the last participant disappears. So it can be a call modified which says that the participant has disappeared when there is only when the user is alone in the call. So we close the record. Participant core is also the main class where are filled the different participants and their identity. The identity of the participant are given either by the telephony part, or we also fetch some information directly in the cache. So these two classes are the generic handling class. The third one is specific to the ACS notification. So it's just one class to listen to the RMI notification. So the Squirrel is the RMI server part, and the ACS to UCL process, which is a Java process in the ACS, push notification coming from the ACS core. The last one is dedicated for the manager assistant. So the manager assistant ComLog is a bit specific because we have to provide the same record, same content, either for the manager and the assistant. So this is used for VHC. we have to provide also the same record on both sides, except that on manager side and assistant side, we find specific tags that which correspond to which user has answered the call. This is very specific to manager and assistant. And this tag, we will find this tag, in the extension part. So as I said, the main processing is when we receive a call created from RTSM, the core engine initializes a record for each user. For the user which receives the event, sorry. So the record is forged on this telephony event. We first begin to add a participant, which is the owner itself. So in this, yes. In this API, the owner of the record is itself a participant. Except some case, but we will see later. So we add the owner of the record, which role he has. So we know on the owner of the record that he is the caller or called party. Later in the communication, if we receive a call modified that said that the COM is active, we will put the answer attribute to yes. We also receive from the call created or call modified the list of participants that can be changed during the conversation. And at the end, we will put also the reason of the call closure. It can be normal close or transfer or conference. In some case, if the call has been diverted or rerouted, we also set in the participant the initial call party. And in one case, the initial call party will be a participant, sorry. But I will come back. New destination is used when the call is also rerouted to know where the call is rerouted. And also we will receive a missed call here from RTSM. So in this case, a new record here is created and closed immediately and put in the base. But normally, the record is closed when the call is removed. So at this time, it's removed from the memory map. It is stored in the database, sent to the database, and an event is sent. Then the event will be mapped in the wrapper. It will be mapped in different way, either in SOAP or in XML or JSON part. And the two API have not exactly the same logic. I will present different the difference between the two logic. The SOAP XML API is the previous API. REST appeared later with a new logic. For example, in SOAP, the owner itself is not seen as a participant. I propose to illustrate directly by an example. It will be simpler. So in this example, number 20 has been called by number 22. So here we are on number 20. We are interested in number 20, which receives an event. So yes, I will start by the older API, which is XML SOAP. In this API, so we will find the user who is designated the event, so number 20, the ID of the record, which has been given by the database, and we will find one participant, which is called here the remote party, which represents the other party. We know that the call was an outgoing call. No, sorry, it's an incoming call because outgoing is false. So it's a call that has been received. The call has not been answered. There is no risk cause particularly. There is no redirection. If we look on the JSON representation, on the REST representation, we found the two participants. One participant represents the user itself, and the other is the other party. The role is directly inside the participant. So here we know that we are a callee. We have been called. The call, we have not answered to the call. And so for the other, it's the same information. The call has not been redirected. There is no redirection. Here we found a complete identity of the other participant, but for the participant which represents the user itself, only the login name. Okay? So it's not exactly the same logic. We found exactly the same level of information, but they are presented in two different manners. Is it okay for you?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's Michael. I have one question. Does it mean that we support both of API and REST API with JSON and with SOAP? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And how it's necessary to support both of API?
Because we have still all clients on SOAP part, like VHE, and I don't know exactly, but also client maybe. It's true that mainly the new clients are on the REST API. Also, the public API is REST, so it's clear that the REST API is the main API, but we have also to support the old one. So this is done in the not in the Squirrel, but on the wrapper part. But the ComLog has to provide internal event which allow to wrap in these two API.
Okay, I understand. Thank you.
Okay. Alors, then besides the main mechanism, there is some special mechanisms that are necessary to understand in the core engine. For example, I don't know if my list is very exhaustive, but as I have in my mind, for the conference, as I already said, each time a participant is leaving the call, we produce an event. We generate the record and produce an event. If it's the first participant, it will be a call, com history record created. If it's a second participant, which is a call, which is modified. So the notification is sent to each participant, to the participant which leaves the call, of course, but also for the other which is still in the conference. And then the record will be updated. The participant which leaves is removed from the record inside the memory, but when the other participant leaves the call, the record that have already been created are modified, and then we send a new notification with the new date and who leaves the conference. That is specific to the conference. About the call reroute. Call reroute can be overflow or redirection or pickup. The owner of the participant, which is the owner, will be set as the initial callee of the new destination participant. So we will create a participant which represents the new destination. For example, if A call B, but the call is redirected to C, we will create a participant C, and C, the participant C will have for initial callee the participant B. In this manner, it will allow to wrap either in SOAP and REST in the two different logic that I will illustrate with the following slide. Or I can do it now. So this example is to represent user 20 has been called by user 22, but the call has been rerouted to user 21. Okay, so if we start again with the SOAP part, so we are on user 20. The remote party will be the caller, which is 22. Again, the outgoing way is false, which means it's an incoming. Here we will find a real square which is redirected, and we find the new destination number is filled with the new destination. And in the rest logic, we have two participants. The one is the caller, the same, and the callee is not the user itself, but the final destination. The participant, which is the owner of this record, is not directly a participant, but it's in the initial called part of the final destination. In that way, for the user, it is saying that it has been called by this participant, but the final callee, which answer or not to the call, is this user 21, and I have been the initial caller of the call. So once again, it's not the same manner to represent the call. For a pickup, it will be exactly the same, except that as it is a pickup, and as the pickup code has been provided by the telephony, we will be able to put the record as answered, because as it is a pickup, we know that the call has been answered. So we use this specific cause to say that the call has been answered. For the voicemail redirection, for example, the beginning A called B, and B is forwarded on voicemail or redirected on non-response on voicemail. So at a moment, the participant B will be replaced by the participant voicemail from telephony point of view. But at the end of the call, when we close the record, the information which is interesting, it is not that a call has been established with the voicemail, but the call has been tried to B, and the call has been deflected to the voicemail of B. So we will find as participant B, and with a special reason which will be voicemail. So in this case, B will know that it has been called by the other participant, and the call has been redirected to voicemail. Okay. This is the same thing for DVA, or I think automated attendant. Yes, a special case for OXI operator. When a call is transferred by an OXI operator, we don't want to have a record. You have two calls actually from the telephony point of view. You have a call, an incoming call from the operator, then a second call with the final participant. The first one is transferred, but we don't want to have a record corresponding to the operator. So we use a specific cause reason provided by Oxy, which says that the first call is a operator call that has been transferred, and in this case we discard the record. Okay. So yes, another thing is listening to ICS notification. It's a special part that has been added later. So in this case, the record is directly built from the information coming from ICS. So the ICS provides the list of participants, the list of media, and also the IM reference. So the record is automatically created, closed, and put in database immediately. But there is some side effects. For example, when the ICS conference branch is calling the different participants, it's created in ICS. Different call that are provided by the RTSM, but we don't want to make a record for each of these participants because we want to use the global record provided by ICS. So we have to discard this point-to-point conference bridge to participant call. We have to discard them to not produce record on that. And for that we use the type of participant which is typed as service in this case. It's a special mechanism that are provided by RTSM. Okay. Manager assistant, I already speak about that. So manager and assistant record are merged. The records are merged to have finally the same content, but with special tags to say who answer the call. It's quite a complex mechanism because the use case can be complicated when the call is deflected from manager to assistant, then it can be picked up back to manager, then it can be forwarded again to assistant. So it's quite complicated to follow the final call and to produce the final ticket. Now I will speak about the database part. Once the record has been produced by the engine, it is put in the database part. So the main class which deal about the record is the request processor that we can find here.
5S мы вообще глаза не видели.
So it works on the different table of the database, the main record tables and the participant table. So what can we say on that? The main processing, when, for example, the plugin is started, is to check the DB version. If the DB version has evaluated we need to migrate, and this is automatically done by the core itself using scripts. Yes, about the second item, if for all the participants which correspond to OT user, then we know the identity. No information are pushed in the DB, are stored in the DB, except the login itself. The aim is to spare the database place. And when the information are retrieved from the DB, the identity of the participant will be built from the Chameleon cache. So, but for the external user, the whole identity of the participant is stored in the DB. All information given by the telephony. Okay. So I will come back on the different table. If the record has not been answered, we have a special table. We count the missed call counter, which is incremented each time new record is not answered. And in this case, a new event is sent, as I already said, on the Panda component, which is in charge to manage the event summary. Sorry. What is a missed call exactly? The definition is a missed call is an incoming call which is not answered and which has not been acknowledged. So the operation of acknowledgement is only allowed of a missed call. Sorry. Apart from this general mechanism, some special mechanisms that I will mention. So to manage different tables, we use only standard SQL request. We have no GPR technology. And we use also store procedures. I don't know if you know this, the store procedures. If you have already heard, if you are you SQL and generally store procedures. Hello.
Sorry, could you repeat your question?
Yes. Do you know the stored procedures? What is it exactly?
Do you mean that does we know about how
it works? Yes, how it works exactly.
With SQL, yes, of course.
SQL,
yes. For example, insert, update, and etc. Create.
Yes.
Okay.
But I mean about the stored procedures are procedures that are inside that are executed inside the DB server.
Yes, of course.
Okay. I would like to be sure that.
Okay.
So we use these stored procedures. For example, if when a record is created, we update the number of records. So it's triggered on special triggers declared on the script. Record picking. What I mean by that is that for user we have a maximum number of records. Now in the actual version is 100. Previously up to the OT10 it was 500, but we reduce the amount to 100. So the oldest records are automatically removed by the data engine when we create new record. There is an hysteresis of 10. Means that when 110 and 10 record has been created, and when we want to create another one, we start to remove 10 records. Acknowledgement propagation, what does it mean? It's an automatic propagation when, for example, when between two users there is 3 missed calls, and later a communication has been established between these two users, so the previous missed calls are automatically acknowledged. This is done directly by the motor. You understand what I mean?
In fact, not exactly.
Okay, so repeat my example. For example, user A has called user B 3 times, but with no response. So on user B, you will have 3 missed calls, okay? 3 missed calls coming from B. And later, if there is established communication between A and B, either if A calls again B or B recall A, never mind, automatically, as A and B are in communication, the previous non-answer record corresponding to the 3 missed calls are automatically modified and acknowledged.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
This is what we call the acknowledged propagation. And this is the same if from a user endpoint you decide to acknowledge one of the 3 missed calls, for example the last one. If the user B acknowledge manually the last missed call, automatically the 2 other one will be acknowledged because this is the same.
What happens when, for example, user B have a voicemail box? So user A called to user B, and after, but user B is absent on place. So start to work a voicemail box. What will set in that time? In this case?
Yes, in this case, if the call is diverted on the voicemail box, it is now it is counted as a missed call. So you have a missed call and a mailbox notification if a voicemail has been deposited in the mailbox. You have both. We thought to associate the 2 1 I mean that once the message, if the message has been deposited on the mailbox, we should be able to modify the missed call and to put it as answered actually, but it's not done.
Okay, thank you.
So you have both. You have the missed call and the voicemail notification. Yes, last point. It's a bit of tricks. Yes, it's how the records are deleted. Actually, when we delete a record, we don't remove it from the table, but we put it as tagged. We tagged it as deleted because the reason is the ACS. At the beginning, we haven't this mechanism. When a record was deleted, it was deleted in the database. But in the second time, when we add with UCL, when we add the notification from ACS, in certain time we produce a record coming from RTSM, from ECS. This record can be removed by the user, but in certain times the record was appearing again because we receive a notification from ICS that which is also listening to the conversation and produce also a same record. So to avoid that, we keep the record in certain time in the database. And so when we receive the notification from ICS, if it corresponds to the same call ref, we discard it. This problem has been found in the test, during the test, because the test they was used to make a call, and as soon as the test is finished, they remove the record. But 2 seconds later, we receive a notification from ACS, and as we didn't find the record in the database, we thought that it was a new communication, and we put it again in the database. So this flag deleted is for that reason. It's like that. Okay, here is the main table. The main table. So the two main table is the com record table and the participant table, where we find all the information, main information. So we find the ID, which is given by the table itself, by the database itself. The identifier, which in case it's a user, it's the login or the number, I don't remember. The call ref, the date, begin, and etc., etc. And link to that second table, you will find all the participants in the same table. Which ID com records it corresponds, their role, etc., etc. Global data is where we can find the version of the database for migration. Missed calls is count the number of missed calls for user. ID is the identifier of the user, and record counts the same for the number of total record for a user. And here, you can find the different scripts that are used to create or migrate the table. Now we are using the V2 version. So we are using the create table V2 and create procedure V2. Here you can find the different migration corresponding to the from and to version that could be used. So when the component starts, it applies the different. If, for example, if we start from 1.0, the different script will be applied sequentially. Okay, so I don't know if you want. We can later have a look in this script if you want, or I can let you discover it. Okay. So normal SQL procedure and store procedure, no special to say. Main package that is defined by Squirrel, the API part, which define the API object and the list of service. The event is for the different the definition of the ComLog event, sorry. And data is specially to use by for the DB access. So in the core part, you have the core itself, which is the engine to generate the user record, and the data to the DB access. CMS, I mentioned it, is no more used because now we access directly to the Chameleon cache to retrieve the information related to the database user password. Sorry. The event package is to subscribe to RTSM event to receive the event, and AMA package is a special manager assistant processing for the merging of the record. a small package, sorry, is to define the RMI API definition, which is used by the ACS2 UCL process. And finally, we have finally we have two packages for the migration from ICS. Sorry. This package is not used by the Squirrel process, but by the CMS migration tool. It is to export and import from the old ICS database and to import in the OpenTouch database. But I don't think it is used today. I don't know, but only for the old ICS installation. But normally there is no evolution on this part. About Maven artifacts, so 5 Maven artifacts. The two main, which are the core and API, which can evaluate. RMI, which is a connector for RMI, so no evolution. And the same for migration, import and export. I don't see evolution on this part.
But can I ask you about migration plugins?
Yes.
Generally in CMS, from time to time, in CMS we have issues related to exception from Squirrel plugins. Will we discuss or have some knowledge transfer related to these plugins?
Yes, to add trust, for example, or yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
So yes, it's possible that there is some bugs on this part. Yes, I don't know, maybe, but there is no fix since I don't remember. 1 year maybe on this part. But yes, you can meet some problem with this migration. Yes, I know. But normally shouldn't be have any evolution on this part.
Okay.
Sorry. So I put the Mercurial repository to get the code. There is 2 branches for now. The default one is used for the current delivery, what T12 or 13, and only one old branch for OT10. The delivery process is very simple. Only Maven deliver on the different artifacts. Now, core API, and we used to have here to keep a list of the fixed in each delivery. Yes, I put, for example, for you, if you want, some example of a SQL command specific to the call log. It's just an example, so I will no comment on that. Just on this part, how to connect an external client to, for example, a DB on OT server to accept the remote connection. But perhaps you know that better than me, how to authorize Postgres security policy. And finally, to end, I noticed some possible evolution on the component. Last problem we encounter is about the reduction of the number of records. I think that a customer was complaining about having only 100 records. So we was thinking for OT 13 maybe to put that maximum as manageable from administration. So we need to have a CMS evolution to be able to manage this maximum. In the code, it's just hard-coded in the data part but it's very easy to change if we need to change this maximum. So I don't know. Could be an evolution that is asked for OT 13. Another thing that I was thinking is about statistics. I think it would be useful to produce from ComLog some statistic on a period, for example, either ask from API, for example, from begin that and end that, or this statistic could be automatically produced day per day. I don't know. They need to be defined, but it could be useful to have some statistic on, for example, how many calls, how many external calls, how many missed calls, how many outgoing or incoming calls. Could be interesting to have this kind of statistic. And finally, yes, I said that this code is now quite old. It has been initially designed 10 or 12 years ago, maybe. I don't know. Yes. 10 years ago. Yes. Beginning of 41, yes. Yes, beginning of 41. So some part maybe could be refactor, I don't know. But of course, we have to take care because there is many use case in telephony and could be many use case and several API to maintain. So we have to take care of any evolution, of course. For last fix that has been fixed on the ComLog was about information provided on all the SOAP API. There is yes, there is several SOAP API. One SOAP API is used for internal use, but there is also a SOAP API which is public API. And the problem was on this public API. ICS, yes, the old ICS 6 API. So it was before OpenTouch. And they complained that some information was missing in certain cases. So the fix consisted in modification in the wrapper, in the Squirrel, and also in the OTS to provide the correct information. This is the last, for me, it was the last correction, last fix brought around ComLog. You can find it in the Mercurial history. And finally, yes, about test. So embedded in the Squirrel, there is about 20 unit tests which are around the database only. And for the service itself, we use functional tests that have been defined on REST. And normally, Ludovic has already taught you about this REST API. So we have for the ComLog, we have three kind of tests. The standard one to test the get ComLog or delete ComLog, of course. but we have also advanced telephony scenarios that are based on a reference base with the result. It's a comparison between what we obtain and the base reference. So we have a base reference which is a file which contains the records for corresponding to the use case, for example, a transfer or conference. And the test consists to replay and to compare field by field the record. If, for example, we compare the result, the reason, the list of participants, the state answered or not, the state, the role of the participant, and same thing for manager assistant scenarios. So you can find in the test reference this list of suit test. So that's all what I have to say to you. So once again, if you have any question on the code, we are able to answer precisely because we know the code. It's our component, so there is no problem for us to have a very precise question on any part of the code. So please don't hesitate if you.
Okay.
This is not the case for all components, unfortunately, but for Squirrel, it's our component, so we are able to answer.
So it's Michael again. I have two questions. So first of them, it's do you have some jobs in Jenkins which are started every day and run all your tests?
Yes, not every day, but it's the three tests that I speak at the end: standard IPS test, advanced telephony scenario, and manager assistant scenario are Jenkins jobs that are working on demand on when the code is modified. So it's based on specific machine and specific configuration, of course. You need to have specific configuration.
I ask you about this because, as far as I know, a lot of jobs must be transferred from Colombo Jenkins to St. Pete Jenkins. So in this case, could you send us the link to these jobs, and we try to move these jobs in St. Pete?
Okay, but these jobs are not working on Colomb server. They are working on Brest server.
Brest.
Yes. It's working in our labs exactly, and
because I think this job is spend your own time, which you can use for your new projects, or I don't know, or we can use your workspace for running these tests.
No, I think I don't know if you attend to the presentation that has been done by Ludovic on this test. Mm-hmm. It was last week, yes, Wednesday, Friday. I don't know if you attend to its presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Gail didn't attend. Gail, I will show you.
Okay, okay, that's great. So, and the second question is, uh, uh, do we have presentation related to migration plugins? About some logic, maybe if it's really if it have some specific interesting moment which is not clear in first overview of code.
I no specific presentation on this plugin, on this migration plugin. No, I am not a specialist of this plugin. I just know that we have to know the old DB structure, the ICS, the old ICS DB structure. This migration is quite, for me, it's quite simple. It's just based on this definition of the old DB ICS structure.
Mm-hmm.
And how they are used by CMS, I don't know exactly how they are called. I don't know if I don't know what is your question exactly about this migration. You have some.
I can explain my interest in these plugins because I have been working about 5 years in CMS, and I know that we have had maybe 15% of failed migration when something was changed in Squirrel. And this plugin failed, and we write CRs to SQL teams. I want to prevent these issues, and if we will have the same issues in the future, it will be great if we will know structure, schema, architecture of these plugins.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Maybe I can explain by mail. I don't know. Perhaps you can send me your describe the problem you met with this plugin exactly by mail, and I can detail. I don't know. I don't know what to say on that. Yes, if you can send me your what did you met? What did you meet exactly with this plugin? The problem you met, and I can answer by yes.
Okay. That's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. What else? So then Daniel, so he provide a second time with the ComLog, but for me I don't have more to say. So once again, if you have some question about about the code, I can come back maybe by mail or precisely, or if you want. But I don't see the need to attend another meeting, another presentation on this subject. Except if you want, of course, no problem to ask your question.
I don't have any question.
Okay, so
Me too.
but maybe they will come later.
Yes, maybe yes.
Surely.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yes, but it's a bit too early to have a second presentation because it's too early for you, of course. and if the question they will come later, of course, when we start to enter in the code and to discover. Okay, so if there is no question for that moment, I suggest to close the presentation now.
Okay.
Okay, yes.
So I will put this presentation on the share that I did suggested by Daniel.
Mm.
All the presentation will be put on this share.
Okay.
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 Thank you for
Thank
your
you.
Thank you a lot. It was interesting and quite clear presentation. Thank you a lot.
Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Bye bye
Bye.
to you.